Hello Internet, James Allen from Out of 8, and today I'm playing Sports Simulation The Golf Club 2. This is basically an expansion of the original Golf Club, which came out a couple years ago. Adds more customization in the course designer, which I'll show off. Also has online leagues called societies that you can join and have league events and play against other players and stuff like that. The gameplay is mostly the same. Also has a career mode, except that you do get more club sets. Basically, what happens on the player and tour club sets is that it exchanges more distance for higher difficulty. I've been playing on the middle difficulty level, which is basically what it was in the original Golf Club, that sort of thing. So the first thing I'm going to show off is the course designer, because it is kind of the killer app of the game. So I'm going to choose a new course. So first thing you'll notice is that there are a lot of themes, a lot more than were in the previous game that you can choose from. I'm going to do Highlands because that's pretty interesting. And give it a name. Same video. You can change the terrain options, the water level, make it fairly hilly. Not very many trees, but lots of plants, some rocks. You know, and it had these adjustments before, but it wasn't specific numbers. It was just like low, medium, high, and stuff like that. Now you can also change the layout. For the interest of time, I'm going to do it as a 9-hole course with 2 par 3s and 2 par 5s, and then I'm actually going to readjust it and kind of make it my own. You can also adjust the fairway width. We'll make fairly wide fairways, few bunkers, large greens, a lot of bunkers around there. And hit apply, and you can see it's actually making it in the background while we're adjusting these options. And this is it right here. So this is the course that it randomly generated for us. So you can go in and see, you know, there's your yardage and all that stuff. Pretty powerful editing tools. What I like about it is the flexibility of it, because all you can need to do, and we can actually we'll take hole 9 and we'll just delete the hole. So there goes hole 9. We'll need to make another par 5. And then what you can do is, in order to create a hole, you just have to place 3 waypoints. And that's it. So you place one for the tee box, one for the fairway, and then one for the green. And there's our par 5 replacement, I guess. Well, we gotta do it. Yeah, we'll do it over there. And then it automatically smooths the terrain where necessary, places bunkers, does the green. All that stuff was in the previous version of the game, which I still find pretty impressive how it does this. That necessarily isn't very new. What is new in the game, in this version of it, it does have more specific settings. You can change the tee box shapes, which as soon as you double click, you'll actually see the shapes change over here. I don't know why you'd want to choose crazy looking shape, but there it is. The textures, you can change what the tee markers look like. So you can change them to be little boxes there, which are color coded according to the tee, which we'll get to in a minute. And you can do the same thing with the fairways, change, you know, the actual numerical values for the widths and stuff like that. And then as soon as you change it, you can actually see you know, the changes immediately on every hole of the golf course, which is pretty cool. And in addition to that, it also allows you to manually place objects, water, cart paths, stuff like that. So it does give you the ability to, you know, make a fairly quick golf course and also kind of add objects and terrain and all that sort of stuff, tournament crowds, a lot of different things there. You can also simply regenerate the course layout as many times as you want, and it'll just redo everything for you. So pretty cool. Kind of the main things in the course editor that it added here is the ability to add additional tee positions. So all you do is you go into edit holes, you put your mouse over the tee box, and you just pick add tee position, and then you can place it wherever, and it'll automatically assign it the color. So for example, this is hole number 2, so maybe I want to put a tee box over here for the ladies, then it'll automatically adjust the terrain and stuff, and then I can put another one for green here, and then another one for blue, you know, back over this way. And then it automatically color codes everything and adjusts all the values over there on the hole yardage. And then you can do the same thing for pin placements. If you go over here, you can add a pin position, and then you simply just click where you want the pin positions to be each time. So, pretty flexible tool there. Now, I found that in my experience, for some reason, some of the courses where I had multiple pin positions, it didn't save it correctly, and it ended up having a lot of blank spots, making the course unplayable when I published it. And the problem is when you publish a course, you can't go back and fix it later, so that's a little bit of a problem there. Another thing is that you can't have it automatically generate the different pin positions. So you have to manually go in and do that, which is a little bit odd that they would add that option, but then not automatically generate it for you. So you see we're back to just having red on all the holes. So kind of odd, but you do have the ability to do, you know, to add multiple pin positions, which is really nice to, you know, have different difficulties on the same thing, and also have pin positions as well, so you can have a multi-day tournament on the same course. So again, pretty powerful course editor that allows you to really put a lot of objects on it, make it look really good. A lot of the official courses look very nice, but also whip together a really quick, you know, golf course on the fly right here. So we're probably just going to go play this one. Typically, I generate my own courses by doing the whole layouts, but you know, again, for the interest of time, so we'll save this, and then we'll actually publish it so we can play it online. So for whatever reason, you have to press the M key to access the menu, and escape doesn't work. So, actually didn't want to publish. So confirm, and then I need to take a screenshot. There you go. And then same video will be available to play. So there are a lot of courses in the game. You can play handicapped rated courses. Basically what happens when enough people play the course, like 2,000 people there, it ends up giving you a handicap that you know, you can use if you enable handicap for online play and stuff like that. So a lot of different courses to play that people have done. You know, it has hot ones, you can rate them and everything like that. So a lot of different things there. So I'm going to go to my courses and then play the one we just made. There it is, 35 seconds ago. So I like making courses. It's probably my favorite part of the game. So go on here. You can, you know, report it if it's, you know, bad or anything. Look at the leaderboard for other people that have played it. You can practice it or just do a new round, which is what we'll do. Again, you can choose your tee if there's multiple tees to choose, but again, I only did one set because I, you know, did it. You could also have different methods of playing, and then also enable handicap scoring if you want to do that. So we'll just begin our round, then we'll talk about how the game plays when you're actually on the course.
Hello there, and welcome to the golf club. Pretty pumped to be out today, having some golf. See if we can do it.
The commentary is back. It is better, but it's still like so bad it's good almost, but not quite that level. So usually I actually just turn the commentary off because it's, you know, you can tell it's like some guy in a booth by himself just recording a bunch of lines. But it is more varied than it was before. So this is basically the same for actually playing the golf on the golf courses. The difference is it's harder to dial in distances. Like before, you could pretty easily just plonk the ball down right next to the hole. Because here it gives you the carry distance, but not the actual distance that it'll travel. And you also have to figure in wind and stuff like that. So it is more difficult to play this game. The mouse control is better, but it's still not great. You have sensitivity settings in the menu. If you go to the menu options here, you have sensitivity settings for the mouse swing, but it only counts it for the backswing, not the downswing. So the backswing will follow your actual mouse movement, but the downswing, when you push the mouse forward, will still have its canned animation, which makes it, you can't really watch the screen while you're doing it. You also can only swing vertically, and personally, it's pretty obvious that they've spent more time working on the gamepad control scheme, because that's what I choose, and that's what actually ends up working better, in my opinion. So again, the mouse is better, but I still prefer using the gamepad. So we're going to drive down here, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the short game and stuff when we get down to that part of the thing. So you have a little tempo thing. Since I'm on the middle difficulty level, when I don't pull exactly back and forward on my gamepad, I get into trouble, which will happen a little bit. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to basically do anything other than that. Interface wise, you can see it looks a little bit better than it did in the previous version of the game. You also have this map which shows where you're at and how far certain things are on the course, which is kind of nifty. And then you can see where your ball is going to end up by pressing the Y key on the gamepad or the button. So we're just going to chunk it. Hopefully it'll end up in the fairway, which it did, so that's good. Move the mouse out of the way.
Okay, back onto the fairway.
All right,
Now
so you got 79 yards going up 5 feet, 75 yards of carry. You have wind. You have all your different types of shots. You have your chips, flops, punches, and pitches, and then the normal shots. When you have all the wedges, I went in and put the gap wedge in my bag. You can switch, your clubs out. I found that I used that way more than a 3 hybrid, so I went ahead and did that. Gives you a little bit more flexibility in the short game. Now the problem with, and we'll show this when we get to a little bit closer to the green, with a lot of these other shots, there's no, and really the regular shots, there's no indicator on what full power is, so it's all practice and visually looking at your golfer. So if you're trying to do anything that is less than full power, it makes it very difficult to do that. Now that may be intentional, because that's kind of how golf is in real life, but it definitely takes a lot of practice in order to kind of figure out what you're doing. Let's see if I can pitch this. I should be able to do that. Let's pitch a pitching wedge. So you can see you can go back pretty much as far as you want to go and stay there for a split second and then be able to get full power like I just did there. But especially with chipping, where you don't have to go full speed, it takes a lot of practice in figuring out how far back you have to pull the club in order to get the shot that you want. Putting is a lot of the same way. It's all touch. And a lot of the courses have different green speeds and stuff like that.
all right, nice little 2-foot putt.
So it's a lot of trial and error. And beginners, I think, will be in a lot of trouble.
Starting off at 1 over.
Trying to get... Oh, good Lord. 652-yard par 5. That's going to be great. All right, so let's aim a little bit to the left. That was not great. But, yeah, I'm going to be in the rough. I'm going to be in the deep rough. Unlucky bounce.
No good.
Well, I'm going to go pick my 4 hybrid and kind of go that. Just at least get back in the fairway and get down the hole a little bit.
All right, back on the fairway. I like this stuff. All right, we're about 210 yards out, I'd say, from here.
I don't think I'm going to hit the green, but
Looks like
that's actually okay because I can show the short game off. Alright, so I actually probably do want this. So I'm going to actually chip this at full throttle here. So again, when you do full power, you can go back and have that split-second pause, and it still says it's perfect swing. And again, some of the yardage indicators are a little bit off too, so you kind of learn over time about how accurate they are. But again, when you're doing something at not full power, it makes it very difficult to execute shots, consistently. All right, so probably want to do about that. especially putting and chipping.
Well, you missed the
Those are
putt.
kind of the two things that
You'll sink this next one. All right, let's take a look at
don't
the
work as well.
scorecard here.
I like doing flops. Flops are very, you know, they stick.
Coming off,
That's probably my
a bit of
favorite
bogey
approach
on
shot.
that last hole. Let's see if we can do better
This
here.
course is crazy. 251. And I'm going down the hill. Jeez. And I have wind. I have no idea. I guess. Ugh. I have 30 yards. Yeah, let's try to do that. Oh, that worked. That's what happens when you're in the rough, I guess. I don't want to chip it with that hill there. So I'm going to try to flop it or something. Okay, so I kind of want like a not full flop. Kind of like that. There we go. That was good. So again, that's all feel-based from simply from practicing. That was a pretty good save, I must say.
Bogey. Good putt. Sitting at 3 over.
It's still 3 over though.
Here. All right, let's let her rip.
Oh gosh, that was terrible. Terrible. I don't want to chip from 28 yards away. Give me a break. Let's flop with the lob wedges. Yeah, my stance and the being in the rough didn't help.
To save par.
Can't even see where the pin is. It's right there. Something like that, maybe. Look at that.
Brilliant. And that'll keep you at 3 over
For par.
now.
That's 45-foot putt for par.
Okay, here we go.
502-yard par 4. Who made this course?
That
God, I'm
swing
driving
was
terribly.
it.
I'm not going to make this in 2, that's for sure. Yeah, just kind of aim for the pin, kind of. Yeah, that actually turned out okay. Still way short, though. I don't want 75 yards. Actually, this might be about right. Because it's going to run up the green a little bit. Yeah, could have gone a little bit further.
All right, 25-footer from here to the cup. Four feet to the hole. You can do this.
I can, and I did.
Solid putt for the bogey. I'm glad you made that. Okay, 4 over for the round.
You hush.
Okay, it's time to send this ball on its way.
I always like to check to see. I mean, this particular course, there's basically no water on it. But it's always good to take a look. That was a pretty good drive.
Nice. Should be in the fairway.
That was good.
All right. We're right around 5 yards out.
That was a good shot, too. But way short. The win, man. That's right. Gonna do some short game stuff. Might chip this one, actually. 12 yards of carry with a slope probably about right. That was pretty decent. And
Okay,
tap
let's
it
see
in
what you
for
can do with this
par.
7-footer.
Come on. There we go.
Great putt in there for the par.
Thanks.
Okay, so that'll keep you
3 to
at
go.
4 over for the round. All right, let's haul off and just smash this next drive. It's looking good. Okay, about 205 yards out here.
Should be pretty good.
Heading for the green here.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
For the bird.
I'm going to miss this putt too, because that's what'll happen. Ah, made it. Good.
Yes.
Those little tiny breaks are always the worst.
Over for the round. And we find ourselves on the 8th tee.
Don't want 225 carry, but I have like the one time I could have used my 3. Well, try to do a short swing a little bit. Yeah, it was way too short. Again, when you're not doing full power, it's extremely difficult to swing correctly, and that was way short. Alright, it's 40 yards. I'm going to flop it. That wasn't 40 yards, that was 75. So, yeah. And then that one's like way under. Actually ended up okay though, considering.
Ten-footer here. I think this can go.
Me too. Doesn't mean it will. Yeah, see, I was
Oh, this is making me emotional.
way off.
Alright, let me dig out the scorecard here. Sitting at 5 over.
Alright, one more to go.
Alright, let's let her rip. Yeah, it didn't sound right.
Going straight for the trap. Ploop. Alright, can I do 204? Probably not. Yeah, 182. Maybe. $162. Sand took 20 yards out of it. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Sit. That was actually pretty good, considering.
Looking at a 19-foot putt from here.
Off. Should have pulled it a little bit more to the right. That's alright.
Alright, about a 3-footer here. Well,
There you go.
Never really like ending things with a bogey, but at least you can kick back in the clubhouse now.
I'll read my own
Maybe I'll
course.
see you there.
Well,
Well, thanks very much for the round. Great.
there you go. And then you can look at the course details and your scorecard with all the distances and stuff, which is useful if you have multiple, tee boxes. But there you go. That's the Golf Club 2. It's definitely an improvement over Golf Club 1. Has a lot more customization options in the course designer, namely multiple tee and hole locations and more objects for the scenery, more specific settings for adjusting basically everything on the course. Just like in the original version of the game, I really like the ability to quickly adjust things and then have it immediately place that on every hole on your course, and also to design holes using 3 clicks, just placing the tee, the fairway, and the green, and it fills in the rest for you. It's fantastic, to be honest about it. It's a little disappointing that the automatic generator does not make multiple tee or pin positions, and from my experience, the pin position thing isn't completely bug-free when you publish a course online. So keep that in mind if you want to do it. The tees I've never had a problem with, though. The interface is more polished, where it gives you that map of the hole with different distances. Also has a pretty extensive tutorial system that you can go through, which kind of teaches the basics of the game, has a driving range and a putting range. The commentary is more varied than it was before, but it's still extremely hokey, and I think a lot of people will probably turn it off. Has support for online play, has the ghost balls from before, where you can play against in air quotes, anybody who has played that course previously and then see where their shots went. And you can also do online leagues through the society mode. Gameplay is mostly the same except for it's actually better, I think, because it's more difficult to dial in distances, because it just gives you how far the ball will carry, not how far it'll actually travel. You can customize the different club types to sacrifice distance for accuracy. Mouse control is better, but it's still not great. I still opt for the gamepad because while you can adjust the speed of the backswing and how that corresponds in real time to your mouse movement, you cannot change the downswing because it's set to whatever animation they made for the game. There's also no power indicator, which makes performing shots at less than full power, which you'll do almost all the time for putts, and then also with most of your chips and other approach shots. Makes them very difficult, requires a lot of practice to execute consistently. I think if you're coming from Golf Club 1, it's a lot more intuitive than if you're completely new to the series and you're trying to figure out how much power to apply to the putts and stuff like that. And it really is just practice. That's the only way you can get good at it, because it's very difficult. There's no indicator of how far to pull back, how far you can pull back on the club. You just have to do it based purely on feel. There's also mouse swing only. There's no 3-click mechanism for swinging. So if you're going into it looking for kind of a Tiger Woods type swinging mechanism, you will not find it here. So keep that in mind as well. That said, I think that the flexibility and power of the course designer really is the selling point for this game. So if you're really more interested in having a lot of courses to play or designing them yourself, I think this is the golf game to have. It does take a lot of practice to get the swinging down, but I think that that's worth it in order to experience the flexibility and power of the course designer. And Golf Club 2 is definitely an improvement over Golf Club 1. And if you're an extensive player of 1, I think you'll find a pretty good game in number 2. That's all I have for today. Until next time, bye now.